Welcome to week 1, module 1 of the Small Business CEO Money Management course. This is lesson 1, and we're going to be doing a walkthrough of QuickBooks Online. So I will stop for a second and reiterate, if you do not have a paid version of QuickBooks Online for your business, then you will not be able to continue in this course because you actually need to use real data to get the most out of this course. So I'm going to assume that everyone here has their QuickBooks, and we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So when you log into QuickBooks, you will see what's called the dashboard. And we're using a sample company here, Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. And before we go any further, I'd like to point out this little feature here called the privacy feature. And what this does is if you toggle that, it allows you to turn off your financial information. So if you just happen to be using QuickBooks in a coffee shop or an airport, and you're going to open it up, it's always going to open to your dashboard, which has a lot of sensitive financial information. And by toggling the privacy feature, it knows so the next time that you open it, it'll automatically be in privacy, and you don't have to worry about someone seeing your information when you open up QuickBooks. So we're going to take that off for now. So this is the dashboard, and because this is a new company, these are some checklists that QuickBooks will take you through to make sure that you're set up properly. For this course, we're going to hit the hide button. However, if you ever need to bring it back, there is the resume setup right there in the upper right-hand corner. So what I'd like to do is do, again, a quick walkthrough of this main page. So the first one we're going to talk about is banking. Banking, if you click on here, this takes you to the banking tab, which lists all the bank accounts that you have connected to QuickBooks, and we will go over connecting your bank accounts. We have the rules tab here, which will allow you to set up rules to save time, such as if anything comes through with the word Shell or Exxon, that's automatically going to be fuel. And then this is the receipts capture tab, which is a new feature in QuickBooks, which I love. It allows you to snap a picture on your cell phone on the QuickBooks mobile app, or to forward a receipt, and QuickBooks will actually use OCR, optical character recognition, to extract data from that receipt. It'll extract the vendor, the date, the amount, and then it allows you to be able to just either continue entering the information or to just match it to one of the downloaded transactions, which we will go over later. The next tab are your expenses. And the expenses are basically anything that you've spent money on, which we've already talked about in our accounting terms you should know. But it lists everything from credit cards expense to bill payments to checks and things like that. It gives you the option to filter from different statuses, from the dates, whatever payee. So if you only wanted to know something, expenses for Cal telephone, there you are. So, and then once you're done, you can just hit the X button, and that will take it back out. If you click on the tab here, it's your vendors tab. And in your vendors tab, it lists just that, all of the vendors that you have entered in QuickBooks. And basically that means anyone that you've ever paid money to, whether it's via check or a credit card or a debit card. Once you key that vendor's name in and save it, it will show up in this vendors tab. And it's very easy to make a vendor inactive or to open it up and to edit it. Next, we're going to move down to your sales tab. We're still on the left navigation. So in the sales tab, you have the overview. Again, because this is a new company that hasn't been set up, there's a lot of information here that is asking, do you want to do this? And we're going to go ahead and say not now for now, just because I want you to be able to see what it would look like when you normally come in. Down here, this is some information about QuickBooks, and then you have your shortcuts, creating invoices, recurring invoices, new sales, and recurring sales. If you click over here on the All Sales tab, it will do just like it did for the expenses. It will list all of your sales. So that means invoices, client payments, sales receipts, anything like that. Also, it lists if you are a business that charges based on time spent on a project, you can actually have your time recorded in here that it's waiting to be charged to a client. And I love this tracker here that gives you a list of unbilled activity, any invoices that are overdue, any open invoices, and then the invoices that have been paid in the last 30 days and how many. And you can click on any of these to get more details. The next tab in the sales section will be your invoices tab, which lists all of your invoices. What I do like about this invoice tab is that QuickBooks will, again, with the tracker, point out what's overdue, and the overdue invoices are usually going to be listed first so that you can make action on them. You can receive a payment, you can send it, you can send a reminder, do all sorts of things. The next tab in the sales section would be your customer list, and then finally products and services. And products and services are basically anything that you sell. Any items or any services that you may sell. You can create bundles to create, for example, if you have a gift basket company and you can sell someone individually balloons, and you can also sell them candy, but you have a bundle if they buy candy and balloons together, that's considered a package. And you can have that as one particular service or product. So now we're going to move over to the projects tab. And the projects tab will let you actually show your profitability for a project in one place. So if you are a company that actually does work on a project base, this allows you to record the income and the cost, expenses hourly on a project base, so that if you want to know, for example, if you were a photographer and you worked with a corporate client and you had a project that was, headshots for every department, and then you had another project that was doing some sort of photo shoot for their Christmas party and something else for maybe some advertising, and you want to make sure that each one of those individual the individual projects are actually profitable, this is a great way to do that. Workers, we're not going to go into detail on workers because this course does not cover payroll, but this is where your employees and contractors will live. This is one of my favorite sections, the report section, which you will have, you can star reports and make them your favorite. These will always be the defaults. QuickBooks will make your profit and loss, your balance sheet, and your accounts receivable summary always as favorites. And then it goes into sections: business overview, who owes you, which is accounts receivable, sales and customers, what you owe, which are accounts payable, vendors and expenses, sales taxes, employees, reports for your accountant, and payroll. The great thing about QuickBooks is that you can't break it. So you can literally get in here and just click around as you start entering data and you have information to run reports on. Click and see which ones make sense to you, which ones give you the information that you're looking for. And we'll talk about it later on, how to customize reports and pulling everything together. But this way you can start seeing what you like. And if you find one that you love, just put a star there, and now it shows up in your favorites. Taxes, we will not do a lot on taxes in this course because in QuickBooks, there are two types of taxes that you'll deal with. One will be your sales tax. So if you are a business that collects sales tax on behalf of the government, you have to remit them on whatever schedule your locality demands. But we will go over how it works in QuickBooks, and we will do that in your live data because the newer version looks a little bit different than this. And if you have employees, you would do payroll, and you run your payroll through QuickBooks, you would do payroll taxes in here. Then the next tab on the accounting, on the left nav, is your accounting tab. And the first one over here is your chart of accounts. And so we talked about chart of accounts and your accounting terms that you need to know. And it's basically just a collection of all the accounts that you have in your business, assets and liabilities, and income and equity and expenses. So all of that is just kind of a housing place for everything here. The next one is My Accountant. If you are working with an accountant or you are going to work with an accountant, you will put their email address in here. So Carlene@c2accounting.com, and you can invite that person and then it sends you an email. The reason it says, oops, something went wrong is because this is a demo and they can't actually invite me to be their accountant. However, if you need some one-on-one help, this will be how you would invite me to be able to see your book so that we can work at the same time and answer questions in real time. And I'll click on this tab here. This is capital. This is something that I don't normally see as your accountant, but if you were looking to get some infusion of cash, some capital into your business, QuickBooks does have some lending programs, and so you can go through here to see what's affordable, what your credit score is, and things like that. So that's pretty much a quick overview of the left navigation of QuickBooks Online. And we're going to stop, and then we're going to come back in the next lesson, and we're going to go over a little bit more of some of the other features in QuickBooks Online.